team across the field. Show them Ohio's here. All right, so there's a little inside TV there. We have a guest on. We typically have a moment before and after to talk to them, to catch up a little bit. And Jake and Eddie decided to make a bet surrounding the game. So the loser will be wearing the winner's jersey.
Yeah.
Jake, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I feel great. Listen, the odds, obviously, this is a 20-plus point spread, so, like, the odds aren't necessarily in my favor. I do believe my alma mater is going to pull off the upset. But here's the thing. I will risk having to wear an Ohio State jersey if it means there's a chance we get to see Eddie George in a Michigan jersey. That's what I keep telling myself. Can you imagine? That's going to hurt you a little bit. That's going to hurt a lot of people if we can somehow come on, Michigan.
It's like watching
for nothing else.
Heroes become villains. If I saw him put that jersey on, it'd be a shame.
Yes.
There's no shot. There's no shot. So we'll make sure that he expedites shipping on the jersey for you to wear here. This is going to be.
I can't wait to see Eddie. He already wears blue. Tennessee State's got some blue in him.
He said it's not the same shade of blue. We already went over that.
He did
yesterday. All right, welcome into the big college football show. Listen, we got a packed show, so here's what to expect. We got to hit up that game between Ohio State and the team up north. Can they make it 4 wins in a row or not? We'll discuss. Notre Dame legend Tim Brown, he's going to join us to let us know what it felt like to play in the rivalry against USC. And we'll let you know who we got winning up at Wrigley when Illinois plays Northwestern. But with that, we bring you into our studios right here in the United Center. That is Jake Butt. He's got his Block M on today. He was an All-American tight end at the University of Michigan. I'm Joshua Perry, repping the Block O, played at The Ohio State University, linebacker, team captain, national champ. Real quick, temperature started to turn up between me and you a little bit today. You think we're going to be able to get to through the show? Yeah,
we will. I'm at peace with this game, too. I think you seem to be at peace as well, though.
I am.
Yeah, I'm at peace. I've accepted that I believe Michigan is going to play their best game of the weekend, or their best game of the season this weekend. And to me, that's all that matters. I believe that they will play beyond themselves. Sharon Moore will coach his best game. The Kirk Campbell and Wake Martindale will coach their best games. I believe they will have a game plan, and they'll play their best game. And at the end of the day, I could live with that.
Ohio State's been ramping up, and I love the way the quarterback, Will Howard's talking. I think these guys understand. A lot of guys came back for this moment, Jake. A lot of guys came back to win in this rivalry. So let's kick things off with our big game of the week. We'll start there, where Ohio State is trying to erase 3 years of pure disappointment. Michigan is looking to make it a 4-year sweep for its seniors, but the task seems large as they take on the second-best team in the land, and they got to go on the road to do it. These games, there are a lot of factors in here, but usually there is one X factor in a matchup like this. What do you think it is?
Okay, I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path here. I'm going to say 4th down game plan. And I really, really believe this is going to play a huge factor in this game. We go back to last year and remember the decision right about the 50-yard line where Ryan Day, his offense was at 4th and 2, I believe, and he decided to punt. A few drives later, Sharon Moore gets 2 separate 4th down opportunities, and he goes for it. So those were points taken away from the Buckeyes, points given to Michigan. This year, Ryan Day he's going for it on 4th down, okay? I know Sharon Moore, he's going for it on 4th down. There's probably going to be between 5 and 7 4th down opportunities. Which team wins will be critical. I think for Michigan, they want to slow this game down. They want to control the clock, which means converting 3rd downs, and if not 3rd down, converting 4th downs. Critical. And then the pressure for Ohio State, how good they've been this year. They believe Chip Kelly you bring in Chip Kelly to be able to run the ball on 4th and short.
Right.
What happens if they don't get it?
Yeah.
If Michigan, if that D-line can dominate and stuff the Buckeye run game, those are emotional moments in the game. I believe 4th down is going to tell the story.
I mean, I think possession of the ball is going to be at a premium in a game like this. As you mentioned, Michigan will probably want to slow this game down, give Ohio State the fewest cracks at it as possible, but also looking at the makeup of this Ohio State team. It hasn't necessarily been a quick strike offense. Certainly, they've had their explosive plays that have led to quick drives, but a lot of this has been methodical. And we even saw it on Saturday against Indiana, where they just work their way down the field, and ultimately they end up in the end zone. But this idea that you're going to get 2-3 play drive with a bunch of explosives and they end up in the end zone isn't typically the case. If they're able to extend those drives via 4th downs, now all of a sudden this Ohio State offense becomes much more efficient. Now, for me on the Ohio State side, I think the X factor is going to be establishing the run game. And what I mean by this is I think Michigan's probably going to come out with a game plan that says Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant I really don't care what your gap responsibilities are. I just want you to bludgeon the interior of that offensive line. There's been so much shuffling there where you got a new guard, you got a new center, and one guard who's been playing banged up over there on the right side. Just bludgeon those guys, right? Set the tempo up front and let them know you're here to play a physical game and you're here for pain. I think Ohio State has to have the same mentality. We're going to come out, run the ball, hand it to Travion Henderson. He's been really good. Give it to Quinshon Judkins and tell him to lower his shoulder into whoever shows up in the hole. I think they have to do that. And the reason isn't for the beginning of the game. The reason is for when you get into the third and the fourth quarter, as we saw this past weekend against Indiana. Ohio State was able to lean on that defensive front a little bit. Travion Henderson had that huge explosive run where he went down at the 1 yard line, but those are the plays you're looking for against Pennsylvania State University, where they ran it 11 straight times over the course of 5 minutes to end the football game. That's what Ohio State needs to have the mentality to do on Saturday.
I look at Ohio State's offense, and you have Lamborghinis and sports cars, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, all this stuff. The head of the snake is the trenches. Michigan, if that D-line can dominate, it doesn't matter what sports cars you have because you can't even get anything going. Will Howard is another concern of mine. He can play a critical factor in the run game. He gives you extra numbers, something Kyle McCord or C.J. Stroud couldn't do. The last thing, too, JP, is running the ball. It's about attitude, too. There's an emotional aspect about the willingness and ability to run the ball. That's when this rivalry changed back in 2021, when Michigan ran and ran and ran. The Buckeyes were out-physicaled that day. Running the ball is about physicality and attitude.
I mean, you mentioned the Lamborghinis. You know, Garrett Smith, Jackson Smith and Jigba, C.J. Stroud, all those guys played in that rivalry and didn't win the game. So you got to be able to set the tone with physicality. But we got to talk about coaches here because Sharon Moore beat Ryan Day head-to-head last year, albeit different roster, different terms. How much is coaching going to be a factor this Saturday?
It's going to be a massive. It goes back to the fourth down. It goes back to what Ryan Day is telling Chip to, hey, stick with the run here, right? But to me, this is the most important game by far of Ryan Day's career. What a fun season it's been for Ohio State. You mentioned all these guys that came back for this exact moment. Nothing else matters. Like this season, it's over if Ohio State loses here. Like nothing else matters of what they did or what they can do. If Ryan Day does not lead his team to victory, I don't even know how you can go forward with the program. That's where they're at. I don't think Sharon Moore is under the same pressure, but he has the same opportunity. If Sharon Moore can lead his team to victory, all of a sudden now he could say he's 2-0 against Ryan Day. I mean, these are legacy-forming opportunities.
This is an interesting thing. I'm thinking back to when Ryan Day took the job at Ohio State, and he was coming off of coaching with Urban Meyer as the offensive coordinator. And so he had been there for some of the successful games against Michigan. His first year playing against Michigan, coaching against Michigan, he was able to get the dub. And then things all of a sudden turned. And I think the pain that Jim Harbaugh felt in this idea of being so connected to the University of Michigan had a lot to do with being able to turn the staff, turn the roster, and turn the tide of momentum in that rivalry. And I look at Sharon Moore, and it's a very similar path that Ryan Day had. You come up as the offensive coordinator in his first game, he gets the win. But now Ryan Day is the guy that has the pain of losing in that game. He has the pain of the memory of going to Columbus and having to face people. His children are in school and they're getting tormented by their peers because his daddy can't get a win against a rival. I think those types of things really come into play in a game like this.
You know, the best teams, really all teams in general, they reflect the personality of their head coach. So how big of a factor is coaching going to be? It's going to be a huge factor.